Alright, so today I'm going to make a brown beef stock, and that requires beef bones. So I couldn't get any of the like joint bones like from right here on the animal, but so these are marrow bones, but that's totally okay. Either of them works. So the first thing we need to do is just like drizzle this in oil and then get it in the oven. I have my oven set to 450. It just needs to be high enough to like deeply roast it. It's not too important. And these want like a lot of color on them, like as much as you can get without burning them. Alright, cool. So those are in the oven. So the next thing is our aromatics. So for this, we're gonna want mirepoix, onion, carrot, celery. Then our sachet ingredients, cracked black peppercorns, onion, bay leaf, parsley, and thyme, same as with the chicken stock. The only change is the tomato paste. So for that amount of beef bones, you're going to be able to make about half a gallon of stock. So you need about 3 ounces of tomato paste, and it's a lot of tomato paste. But yeah, so what we're gonna do with the aromatics is prepare them the same way as we did for the chicken stock. You know, just peel the carrots, peel the onion, cut it up pretty chunky. But then what's gonna differ is we're gonna like brown them. We're gonna color them in a pot, and then add the tomato paste and brown that as well. And then we're gonna add the beef bones, and then we're gonna add the water. We add all the aromatics at once because we don't actually care about the clarity of this broth, because it's gonna be super cloudy. It doesn't matter that the aromatics go in earlier. So yeah, let's just get off all the extra skin. Cut off as little as possible. We want these maybe a little bit smaller than what we had for the chicken stock, because you want them to brown, but at the same time you don't want them to burn. So you still need to have them fairly big. I washed off the celery and the carrots beforehand. Once again, the leaves have been trimmed off because they make it a little bit more bitter. So you just need to trim off as little of the end of the celery as possible. Celery is the most flavorful part of the celery, and the celery heart. So if you get like a whole head of celery, make sure to use the celery heart. It has the most flavor of any part of the celery. Just like that. Cool. So we're going to brown up all of this, and then we're going to add the bones and make the stock. And then we will add this once the water is added, or the sachet ingredients. So yeah, let's just brown up all the veggies. Alright, cool. So the bones are getting there. They've been in the oven for about 20 minutes so far, and they probably have about 15 more minutes. So I'm going to start browning off all the vegetables. So this is the pot that I'm going to end up making the stock in. It's not very big because, you know, you want the right size container for what you're doing. Let's see, so I heat It's about a tablespoon, maybe two of oil, and let it get up to temperature. So I'm gonna add all of the Mirepoix ingredients all at the same time. If you're really worried about burning stuff by accident, you should separate the onions, carrots, and celery and add the carrots first, wait for them to get some color, add the onions to the pot with the carrots, wait for that to get some color, and then add the celery because the carrots will take the longest to burn and the celery the shortest. I'm just going to throw it all in at the same time. I'm not too concerned about it. As long as you keep it moving, you should be good. So yeah, I'm just going to wait for this to heat up a little bit and then we'll add it. Oh, and then after all the Mirepoix ingredients are nicely browned and caramelized, then I will add the tomato paste to this pot. You really need to cook the tomato paste to like a deep brick red, just barely before burning. This is really important because raw tomato paste tastes disgusting and I would never recommend eating it. Alright, so little wisps of smoke are coming off the oil now, so it's time to add the Mirepoix. And I'm going to turn the heat down a little bit. Be sure to keep it moving pretty regularly. You don't want to continually stir it. You do want to get some color, but you don't want it to stick and burn. And that will happen if you don't stir it at all. Just make sure you stir it occasionally. Alright, cool. I'm going to say that this is far enough. So now I'm going to add the tomato paste and let this cook out. That whole process took me about 15 minutes. So really not that bad. And this will take another 5 or 10 minutes. It all depends on the temperature that you had your pot at. And at this point, you want to stir it a lot more than you were when you were just browning it, because the tomato paste will burn a lot easier. See how it's much, much darker than it was when we put it in. It's deeply red now. And that's really good. You don't, because that means that all the raw tomato paste flavor is gone, and that's just like, it's disgusting. No one wants to eat that. Have you ever tasted raw tomato paste? It's bad. It is really bad. But this is good. This is like really good. Alright. So my bones are just about done. I'm going to turn the heat down so that everything doesn't burn while I get the bones out of the oven. Cool. So here are the bones. You can see a lot of the fat rendered out and all the oil is still in there. So we need to just drain this off. Really important. You don't want all of that going into your stock. Let me just add this directly in. So now we want to get all this fond, because this is all really good flavor, into the pot. So just like a little bit of water. Use the same wooden spoon, so just scrape it all up. And that's good. Not super important to do that, but it just adds flavor. You know, otherwise you're just wasting some of the bones, and you don't want to do that. All right, cool. So now I have about 2 quarts of water. Whoop. Wow, I made a huge mess. Turn the heat up a little bit. Let it just simmer away for about 6 hours. It's gonna take 6 hours for all this for all the flavor to fully extract from the beef bones. It's a lot of time, so I started this at 10 o'clock in the morning. It's currently 11:10, so it took me an hour to fully roast the bones. Yeah, so just let this go, bring it up to a simmer, and then turn the heat down so it's just barely simmering. Skimming as you need to. You will need to skim this a little bit. Yeah, pretty exciting. I'll show you what it looks like in 6 hours when it's done. And you can add all of your sachet ingredients right at the beginning. It's fine, just put it in there. Alright, cool. So the only thing left to do is strain it. It's been simmering for about 6 hours. It's about 5:30 right now. Can't remember exactly when it started simmering. But yeah, it's about 6 hours. So turn it off. And there we go. Just maybe a little under 2 quarts of beef broth. Yeah, so I'm going to be using it to make French onion stew, and then I'm going to combine some of it with some of the chicken stock to make like a fake veal sauce, because I don't have access to veal. It's also like kind of messed up if you think about it. But it tastes pretty good, so yeah. And then I'm going to take that veal and then I'm going to reduce it down, and then I'm going to make Espagnole sauce, the brown sauce out of it, and then I'm going to make that brown sauce into demi-glace. So yeah, thank you. Hope you enjoyed.